And now, it's time for Comfort Time Live. Comfort Time Live. Comfort Time Live is a call-in show where you can call in and discuss air conditioning, heating, energy savings, indoor air quality, and dealing with contractors. Comfort Time Live. And now, here's your host, your personal comfort consultant, tackling all of your home comfort issues. Here he is, live on your radio, Tom Platania.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Comfort Time Live. I'm Tom Platania. You're listening to Comfort Time Live on WPSL 1590, or as we have a bunch of folks on ComfortTimeLive.com watching us and chatting with us in the chat room and watching us live on the studio. Today's going to be a special show, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, Comfort Time Live was started 3 years ago with the sole purpose of educating listeners on how to deal with anything in their home, from dealing with taxes on the home to contractors to air conditioning, plumbing, real estate, anything that you can think of. We've had folks in the studio from Florida Power and Light all the way to air conditioning manufacturers. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step away from that for just a moment and pay respects to someone who many of us in our lives lost that was very near and dear, especially to myself and another young lady that is listening. My father passed away Sunday morning at 1:38 a.m. in Jackson Memorial Hospital from his heart. And we're going to focus on the show today. We're going to talk about a lot of the great things. There's a lot of folks listening online that are there to pay their respects to not only him but to a young lady that was very, very important to him in his life and his passing. But my father was a senior, Thomas Vincent Platania is senior. He was born on December 10th, 1946 in St. Petersburg, and he just passed away February 5th, 1 hour and 38 minutes after my birthday, which makes it even harder. He was a great man. Just like anybody in our lives, we always have our ups and we always have our downs, and we can't always please everybody. There's not a book, there's not a manual that tells us how to be perfect parents. There's not a book or manual that tells us how to be perfect people or perfect fathers or perfect husbands or perfect uncles or aunts. We have to take chances. We have to do things that we feel are in our best interest as well as those around us. And sometimes we all make mistakes. But my father was learning from those, and there was many things that he did in his life that touched many people's hearts, and we're going to talk about that throughout the show this afternoon. And I hope the young lady is able to, she was having some difficulty getting online. I hope that she can hear and that she's online now to dinner. But you know, my grandfather had passed away in December of 2010, and we went to his services in January. And the one thing that came to my mind is, for the last year or so of his life, I didn't become as much a part of his life as I wanted to. And after his passing, I told myself that I wasn't going to let that happen to my father, because me and my father, we hadn't talked. We went back and forth, and it was kind of ironic because, you know, the whole 20 years in 1991, I was living with my dad for a little bit, and we had a little disagreement. And at the end of the disagreement, it came down to $43.64. And every 2 to 3 years, I'd pick up the phone, Father's Day or Christmas or some special occasion, and I'd pick up the phone, and him and I would talk for hours about everything. about what was going on in his life, what was going on in my life, but at the end of the conversation, my dad and I kind of laugh about it now, but my dad would say, "All right, son, before we get this relationship going back again, I want my $43.64." And that went on for almost 20 years until after my grandfather's passing, I said to myself, "You're better than this, and I'm not going to let $43.64 stand in the way of my relationship with my father." So I was ready to write him a check. And an amazing thing happened. When I picked up the phone and called him, we talked for hours. And not once did he ever mention the $43.64. He said, "Son, the past is the past, and you and I need to get on with our relationship." And that was almost a year ago. We have a young lady on the line who I believe, based on the name here, is the young lady that I'm going to be talking about here in just a second. Good morning, young lady.
Okay, bye.
Hello?
Hello, Tom.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
No, this is her sister-in-law.
Oh,
Joanne.
this is. Oh, okay. I didn't want to.
I'm Joanne's sister-in-law.
Oh, hello, Joanne. I thought it was her.
I know. How are you?
I'm doing okay. We're just
Good.
we're trying to relive the pleasant thoughts and memories.
I know. I was listening.
And I appreciate you calling, and it means the world to my dad.
Yes, he was a nice man. I never did get to meet him. I was hoping to come this summer, but God had other plans, and now he's looking down on all of us. So I can be thankful that he's in a better place right now.
I guess we could say that. I know with his angel that he had down here, I can't imagine him being any place better than being in her arms.
Oh, that's true.
But
that is wonderful. Joanne is a wonderful person.
She is, and
there's no one better than her.
My dad was blessed to have her in his life in the last days, and we're gonna go through that whole thing about how that all happened here. We're gonna talk about all of that throughout the show today. But thank you, Joanne, for calling.
Oh, you're welcome. Can I continue to listen?
Oh, absolutely. You can.
Okay.
You can actually log in on the internet and listen.
I tried, but I'm at work and it wouldn't.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Can they stay on Can they stay on hold to do that or no?
I'm not sure what she'll hear on hold.
Oh, okay.
So we can try. I'll put you on hold.
Yeah, she can put you on hold. I'm not sure what you'll hear, but you're more than welcome to stay on hold, Joanne.
All right.
All right. You're welcome. Let's go to line 2. Wayne, how are you, sir?
All right.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, Wayne. Thanks for calling.
All right, guys. Yeah.
I appreciate you paying your respects. I appreciate you listening in.
Absolutely.
What do you remember? Wayne, what do you remember?
Do I remember?
Yeah, what do you remember? Because you're live on the air right now, Wayne.
About your dad?
Yes.
He was a nice guy. I mean, I just got to talk to him on the computer there, and I really got a really chance to meet him face to face. But I liked him a lot, man.
He was. I know our families had a long history, but I appreciate you listening in today.
Wanted to meet him face to face. I think I remember him, but I'm not sure. You know, I was young at the time.
Yeah, I mean that was what was that 40 some years ago, almost 50 years ago. That in our hometown all our families were together.
Yeah.
But
great.
Now, Wayne, do you want to stay on to listen, or can you log into the internet to?
I'll stay on to listen, Tom.
What's that?
I'll stay on to listen.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to listen online, but if you want, you can also go onto the internet. We're actually streaming this live through my website, comforttimelive.com. You can. There's a chat room there, so if you get cut off on the phone or you can't hear anything, you'll be able to hear everything through the chat through the website, comforttimelive.com. That's what we're streaming through right now.
All right, I'll try that.
All right,
I'll try
buddy.
to stay on the house as long as I can.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
All right, Tom.
All right, sir.
God bless.
Thank you. So anyway, so my dad and I got back together, and we would talk all the time. And he called me, and one day he called me, and well, I was always talking to him, about because he was starting to get into computers, and he just, a friend of his, Jack, just helped him create this like incredible computer. And I mean, he would call me up every day. Hey, I got another terabyte. I got another 2 terabytes. I can stream this and stream that. And it was funny because he had Netflix, and he got this device that would let him record anything that was on his computer screen. And it was funny because he would sit there for hours and hours on end, taking stuff off of Netflix and recording it for this special little box he had. And I'd ask him, I'd say, Dad, if you already have Netflix and you can watch those shows anytime you want, why are you recording them? But that's just what he wanted to do, and that's what he wanted to pass the time with. And he would call me up all the time, and I just recorded Hawaii Five-0, the 3rd season, and I'm doing this, and now I can do 2 or 3 of them at a time. And it was, you just hear it on his face. And I started talking about Facebook, and hey, why don't you do a Facebook thing? He said, I don't want everybody knowing all my business. And I said, Dad, well, you can keep as much of it as you want secret. You don't have to let everybody know what's going on. So he finally got on Facebook, and I guess he started going through and searching for people. And he typed in a name that he was well acquainted with over 50 years, almost 50 years ago. And he typed this young lady's name in, and he befriended her. Well, she had seen me or heard about me being on Facebook, so she immediately thought that it was me. So she asked, "Are you junior or senior?" And when he replied to her that he was senior, well, actually, what she said is, his reply to her was, "Do you remember the kiss in the dark kitchen that night?" And she immediately knew it was him. And what that was is, after 3 years, when they were 14, 15 years old, after 3 years of my dad kind of flirting with her, this is back in 1961. After 3 years of flirting with her, he finally called her into the house and said for something, and then he gave her this kiss in the dark room. And the thing was is that for some reason, the parents of both families thought that the kids, I guess, were getting too serious. And my dad's parents told him that she didn't want to see him anymore, and her parents told her that he didn't want to see her anymore. So they were going off of what they were being told. So they thought that they didn't want to see each other. So everything ended. And not until 2011, almost 50 years later, when they reunited, they told each other the story and found out that that was the whole case. And they fell back in love again, which they both say they never really ever fell out of love, but they fell back in love again. And were to be engaged on February 15th, Valentine's Day, this year, after 50 years. And it just absolutely touches my heart. And this woman, you have to meet her to know. My dad, he had a little phrase for her that she was his angel, and that she was here to save him, and that he often would talk to God and asked him to send him someone. And a month later, after he had made that request, they were able to connect on Facebook. And in his neighborhood, it's absolutely amazing, 2 different perceptions of a human being. And in a human being's passing, you truly realize the people that loved you and cared for you and the people who didn't. That's when the truth really comes out. That's when the greed comes out. That's when the caring comes out. That's when you really notice the difference between two groups of individuals. And I spent probably the past week and a half most of my time down in Miami, and it's absolutely amazing the amount of people in his neighborhood who absolutely loved that man and adored that man. It was amazing the amount of neighbors that came by in tears after they found out that he had passed. It's amazing all the things that the people there are willing to do to help me and this young lady who was his love to get everything in order, to take care of his. He had this African gray parrot, and boy, this parrot could, I mean, you would be amazed. He would imitate the sounds of swallowing of his coffee in the morning. He would constantly say, "You all right? You all right? I love you." And he would say these things, and we're sitting there me and this young lady are sitting there at the kitchen table, and just the birds just constantly. You want to go out?
Is he a reminder of your dad?
Oh,
and the bird is like mimicking your dad.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, because they used to.
Yeah.
And, every time my dad would tell the dog, because he had a 120+ pound Rottweiler that's still there, and my dad would always say, "You want to go out?" Okay, that bird would imitate that. So we're sitting there at the table, and the bird's going, "You want to go out? You want to go out?" to the dog. Yeah. And it's amazing the connection, and then the connection with the dog. He had a dog, Dakota, and luckily there's an organization out there that's a Rottweiler rescue, and they're in Gainesville. So we're gonna bring the Dakota's the dog. We're gonna get him up to Gainesville so that we don't have to put him to the Humane Society. We don't want to do that because what'll happen there, and we don't want that to happen. But just everybody. I mean, there's people taking care of the house. There's a gentleman who's walking the dog for us while we're not down there. Just amazing. The people the neighbors came by and they told us how he was the oldest resident in Biscayne Park down in Miami. And so he knew everybody coming and going and passing, and he used to stand. There was a little median out in front of his house because the road was separated by this long median all the way down. And he would stand right out in front of the house, right in the median, with the dog, with a cigar in his mouth, every day, and just waving to everybody, talking to everybody, befriending everybody. I mean, even the recycling guys the other morning before I left were just like, "Oh, we loved your dad. He was an awesome guy." He would sit here and talk to us, and we actually had to tell him that we had to go. We couldn't talk anymore. But they said they always looked forward to coming back that next time because he'd be there to talk to them. And it's amazing. I mean, people were letting me, who didn't know me, but because they loved and knew my father so well, they let me stay in their homes while I was down there. And it's just amazing. He changed so much, and this young lady totally turned his world around. After him and my mom, which I was only a couple years old when they separated, he remarried and was with his wife for over 30 years. And she, about 96, 2006, she passed away of cancer after 30-some years of marriage. And he took it very hard. And he kind of joked that their relationship was kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde, their marriage. And he was in bad shape. I mean, just devastated. And he became a hermit. And I mean, the neighbors even said that there was points in time where they wouldn't see him for a long time. And finally, little by little, he started coming out of his shell and talking. But they all said, and without them all being in the same room, they all said that when he met this young lady, her name's Joanne, when he met her, they immediately noticed a change in him, his personality, his life. I mean, he was actually coming out all clean shaven, and he was always asking advice from one of the young ladies that lived next door. And it was just absolutely amazing. We have to take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. Now, if you're listening online, You're probably not going to hear the commercial break, but hang in there. We'll be right back. You're listening to Comfort Time Live, and listen to the dedication show of my father, Thomas Platania, who passed Sunday, February 5th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Comfort Time Live. I'm Tom Platania, and today we're taking a little bit of a break from our normal show of helping and educating consumers. We're taking a break to pay our respects to the passing of my father, Thomas Platania Sr., and to kind of talk about all the great things that happened in his life, all the great things that he brought to other people's lives, the joy and the love. And I just hope that all the folks listening, and that in some way that he touched your lives or touched the lives of someone very close to you. Because I know that in the past year that he made a profound effect on my life and changed and helped me through a lot of struggling moments where I needed that friend. I needed that best friend to pick up the phone and call. And I miss, and we don't want to put ourselves in the position to say, that we made mistakes, and I wish I could have gone back 20 years ago and wrote my dad that check for $43.64. Swallowed my pride and said to myself, it doesn't matter who's wrong or who's right, your relationship with your father means more than anything. Because I feel like I gave up 20 years of relationship with him. And I could just imagine what impact we could have had on each other's lives. But we got to think about what's now. We got to think about the positive things that he did and the impressions he made on everyone. There was Joanne texted me, the love of his life. She texted me and said that there was a neighbor who left a note on the door of his home, and I'll read the note to you. It says, "Hello to Tom's loved ones. We will miss seeing Tom standing with his dog in the center aisle every day. Things will not be the same in Biscayne Park. We had many discussions over the years. He was a special soul. We will miss him dearly. May flight of angels sing him to his rest." And that just shows you the kind of people in that area and the hearts that he touched and the great man that he had become. Like I said before, we've all made mistakes in our lives. But the difference is how do we change? How do we grow from those mistakes? How do we get better? How do we live the rest of our life to right some wrongs? And my dad was on that path. And there's probably a million and one ways we can look at why what happened and why it happened the way it happened. We can get mad that just when we were getting our relationship going and just when he found his love, that his life was taken from us, and we could shake our fists and we could get angry. We could say that, and this is what Joanne says, is that God brought her back into his life to bring him closer to God, so that when it was his time for passing, that's where he would go. I mean, there are many different ways to look at it, but I just, wherever he is, I hope that he's in peace. I can't say that he was suffering here. I can't say that. I know in the last week in the hospital, Monday, January 30th, he came back from walking the dog, and Joanne had noticed that he wasn't doing too well. He was sweating real bad, and so she laid him down and put a cold compress on his head. The next morning he woke up, and she noticed that his eye was drooping a little bit, his speech was real slurred, but he just kept telling her that he didn't feel that well. And later on that evening, I don't know, around 5:30 is when they had brought him to the hospital. And the diagnosis was that on Monday he had had a heart attack, but he was still kicking. On Tuesday morning he had a stroke, but he was still kicking. And they brought him into the hospital, and then Wednesday morning he had congestive heart failure. He aspirated, which caused a really bad fungal infection, and they could never get his heart back to where it was because it had been damaged so bad. And that's what happened on Sunday morning at 1:38 a.m. But it was just amazing. I remember the first day he called me, and he was like a little kid in a candy store, and he called me up and he says, "You'll never guess." He goes, my world has changed. He's like, "You're never going to believe what just happened." And he's like, "I can't tell you right now." He's like, "But words can't express how his feelings were." And then a couple days would go by, and he'd tell me a little more. He says, I met a woman. He's like, "I can't tell you who she is right now." He says, "But I met somebody." And then finally, once him and Joanne had decided to tell everybody about their relationship, he told me, and he told me the story. And that's when he told me the story about how back in about 1960, 1961, they were living across the street from each other, and that how he used to just flirt with her all the time, and he had that special kiss with her in the kitchen. Joanne remembers how they used to go on dates all the time, and he actually took her to his junior prom, and she says she still has the picture. And Joanne, I'd love for you to take a picture of that and post that up on his website for Facebook if you would for me, or send me a copy of it. I'd love to have that. And then he told me how neither of them realized that their parents were the ones that actually had a hand in splitting them up. And after they split up, Joanne said that she used to wait every day for him to get off the school bus and walk home, and she'd watch from outside her window all the time. And she was just so heartbroken that they broke up, but she thought that it was because of how it ended. She thought that it was because of him, and he thought that it was because of her. But the parents, for their own reasons, they did what they did. I can't find fault in them because I don't know. I wasn't there. But all I know is that On May 11th, 2011, Joanne got a little request from a friend on Facebook and said, Thomas Platania, and he had a picture of The Godfather, and he loved that movie, and it was funny, but wants to be your friend. And she thought, he says she thought it was you. That's what he said. He says, Tommy, I thought she thought it was you, until I told her that. Until I said, no, do you remember that kiss? And she immediately knew that it was my dad. And oh God, he was so happy. I mean, it was the sound in his voice from before and after. You could just hear how happy he was. And there were a couple minor bumps in the road, but his feelings never changed, his thoughts never changed, and he'd always tell me, she's my angel. She's my angel. He would tell me that all the time, and he was so happy, and he called me up, told me that they were going to get engaged. And after his passing, we went and looked at the ring, and Joanne's got the ring on her finger now, which just, I hope she wears it forever. But he was, I just loved him to death, and I'm headed down there this weekend again to help take care of the dog in the house, and we're going to have a little get together with all the people in the neighborhood. And it's funny, it's my dad, hey, all parents, back in the olden days when you were allowed to beat the heck out of your kids, and not today, you can't even look at them cross-eyed without child services. But then again, you look at most of our kids today and you say, well, maybe they should have been beaten a few times. Hey, I got beat a lot. I didn't turn out too bad.
No one killed you, right?
No one killed me.
Came close, maybe.
But I remember we lived in New Jersey, and he hadn't been married that long to his wife that passed away, Jeannie, and she had 3 sons that were all older than me. I can't remember if they were older than my sister or not, but I think they were all older. But my dad had a paper route, and somebody stole money out of his paper route money, and he was furious. And obviously the person who stole it wouldn't fess up, and it wasn't me. And he'd take all the boys, brought us upstairs to our bedroom, flipped us all over, and walked around the room and beat each one of us until somebody fessed up. And that's the only major beating I ever remember.
It's like the military handles things that way, don't they? When something goes wrong, everybody pays.
Everybody pays.
Everybody pays.
Because somebody, it's if the guy who wasn't going to speak up didn't say anything, somebody else in the room knew something. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember how he got to the bottom of it.
Or they stick together and they get even with that person later.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But and he was real big on sentences, when I get in trouble. And I mean, when I'm talking writing sentences, I'm talking thousands and thousands. We're talking like 10,000 sentences if you did something bad, and you would sit there for weeks. And it was basically your grounding. You were being, until you finished those.
Well, at least you were working on your penmanship while you were in trouble.
You should see my penmanship now. It's absolutely horrible. But it happened more than once that I had to do it. And every time you had to write sentences again, it would go up and up and up and up. And you would have notebooks upon most. And of course, you got good at writing sentences.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that same punishment, but a little bit different. I did have my daughter, when she was in trouble, sit with the dictionary and write the word and the definition and the word and start with A. and keep busy.
And I like that.
But you're learning something. But you're learning something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you are reading that definition of all those words.
Yeah. But but we, of course, you always try to cheat. I, will.
Oh, it wasn't. I didn't. It wasn't the same sentence.
Exactly. So you couldn't do that. So we'd finish a day's worth of sentences, and all you would see is 18 pages, and all you would have would I will not. And then you go back up and start again. So I remember he owned an ice cream store in New Jersey for a little bit, and You know, he worked at Joe's Stone Crab down in Miami. I don't know if anybody's listening knows about that, but gosh, he would go to the grocery store, and anytime he saw a buy one get one free, he would buy 1, 2, 3 and get 3 free. We went and started cleaning out some of the food and stuff, and there were 16 jars of Jif peanut butter and 10 boxes of dishwashing, those little gel pads, 10 boxes of those. There was 20 jars of, and they weren't that old, 20 jars of spaghetti sauce, 6 giant 64-ounce things of coffee, just over and over again. So we're going down there this weekend to clean out some more stuff and give some away. I mean, there was cans of fruit and vegetables and just all kinds of stuff. We're gonna donate that. Yeah, it was so funny. And Joanne and I were going through it. Now we got to go to the garage. I mean, he had tools that he never touched because he would see specials, or he's one of those people that when he saw the stuff on TV, he was one of those people that's the reason that the TV, that the as seen on TV is so popular. My dad was one of those guys. I mean, there was saws and anything. He bought this thing from Canada to pull trees or bushes out of the ground. It was I forget what it was called, but it's like, Dad, you're in like no condition to be able to do something like this. Why would you buy something?
He liked the advertisement.
Advertisement. And the amazing thing as we started looking and pulling things out, how similar my father and I were without even realizing it. We were both love technology. We both started learning to play the guitar without realizing it at the same time that we were learning to play the guitar. As I started going through his house, found out that we used the same deodorant. We used the same Axe body spray. For folks, I just got a thing online there for anyone who's looking to, if you want to call the show and pay your respects, 772-340-1590 is the number you can call the show if you'd like to give a quick call on the line, 772-340-1590. You can give a call here at the studio if you want to pay your verbal respects, and maybe if you knew something about him and you want to just kind of say a positive thing that on what he did to touch your life. I think we'd all love to. We had a bunch of people in the chat room chatting in and paying their respects, and it was awesome. If you want to email, if you can actually go, if you're on the website, to the left-hand side, you're going to see a link that says Contact Us. If you click on that Contact Us link, that'll bring you to my email, and you can email it right to there. It's I think the email link that's posted on there is comforttimelive@gmail.com. But just click on that Contact Us link, and that'll bring you right to an email address to send me anything. The pictures, I see you have someone has a photo here that they'd like to send in. But my father had two other brothers. One was my Uncle Jimmy, who unfortunately passed away quite a few years ago. It's, I used to say good luck or bad luck, but my Uncle Jimmy battled cancer for many years, and he beat it. But then he passed away of Lou Gehrig's disease. But he was, at points in time, he was a father figure to me too, and so he had passed away. And there's one of my uncles is still here. My Uncle Bill is still here. He lives up in New Jersey, and he's a great individual. He actually was a intricate part of my grandfather's passing and making sure that he that everything was handled appropriately for my grandfather. He was there with him and his last wishes, and took care of my grandmother on my dad's side. He's got a great family with great daughters, but it's good that they're here to help us through everything. Now we're gonna have we're not sure exactly when the ceremonies are going to be, but we have to wait. We're going to have him cremated, and we're actually having him cremated in the same organization that cremated his wife of 30-some years. And they actually called me yesterday, and they are going to actually have him cremated in the same I don't know what they call it, the same area. They have cremation bay 1, and I don't know how to say it, but they went back and looked at her information, and they found her same one, and they're going to put him in the same one to have him cremated as well. I'm retyping in the phone number 340-1590 into the chat room so everyone can see it if you'd like to call. We're going to go to line 1. We have Anita. Hello, Anita.
Hello, Tom. I just want you to know that you're in my thoughts and in my prayers. I am a Carmelite sister of Joanne and a very dear friend. I've shared their happiness the last 10 months. And Joanne tells me you're like a son to her. So I just wanted to share with you, I know the Lord probably sent her to him. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. And she is an angel to everyone.
She is. She's been absolutely amazing. The time that I've spent with her, with trying to take care of my dad and everything, it's just amazing that someone so special was able to come into his life.
Yes.
She is.
And I know there was a purpose.
Yeah. And to the statement about, she said I was like a son to her, that means I got a pretty good looking mom, huh?
You sure do. And everyone loves her.
Yeah. We
miss her in choir. She's our background in our Carmelites. She does everything. She's just a friend to everyone and a super, super lady.
Well, I know this is definitely going to bring me and her and our families together again, because I would want to keep constant contact with her and just to share everything with her. So thank you so much, Anita. I appreciate you calling. Thanks for listening.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Wonderful. Well, so back to the so we're going to have him cremated, and I think the crematory is going to put all the information. I'll double check with them, but I think they're going to put all the information in the paper down there for the obituaries and taking everything. And once that's all taken care of, then either stay in contact on Comfort Time Live or stay in contact with Joanne, for those of you that know her, or you can keep in contact. If you sign my guest book on Comfort Time Live, if you're listening, and you're listening today, sign the guest book. I'll know what your email addresses are, and I will send the invitation. If anyone is there in the vicinity, it'll most likely be in Miami that we're going to have it at the church that Joanne and my dad went to, that was next to his home. So we're going to have the mass resurrection there after the cremation, and we'll send all the information out to everybody so that if anyone wants to attend, I may, if they'll let me, I'll look at possibly trying to record it if they'll let me, and then I can post it on Ustream or YouTube or something like that, and I'll definitely have it on my website. So if you weren't able to make it, we'll find a way for it to be available for everyone if they want to view it. We're going to go to line 2, Colette. Hi, Colette.
Hello, honey. I'm your cousin.
Colette, boy, it's amazing how it brings family together, huh?
Sadly, yes.
How are you,
Colette? I haven't seen you since you were about 4 years old.
And I'm not much older than that right now. I'm 43 now.
Oh, bless your heart.
And my birthday was February 4th.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, well.
I didn't know where your dad was all these years. until just, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm so sorry. I love Tommy dearly.
Yeah, it was. But you know, the great thing, Colette, is that just that last year or so of his life really, and it's, as you know, you probably met Jeannie. Do you remember Jeannie?
Vaguely, dear.
Yeah.
He had so many girlfriends.
Well, Jeannie was his wife for 30-some years. I know he had girlfriends before that, but I don't think he had any afterwards.
No, I'm sure he didn't.
At least he better not have.
No, he wouldn't have been very happy.
But yeah, well, it's and now, how did you hear about the show?
Believe it or not, another cousin of mine was listening to your show, and he heard it, and he called me right away.
Oh, well, whoever he was, please, that was it, Wayne?
Jerome.
Jerome. Oh, okay, I see them. Shalom Jerome is here. Oh, okay, yeah, on line. Okay. Yeah, so thank you very much, and that's what I was really hoping, is that, you know, even for the folks who I wasn't in contact with, but other people were, is for us as a family to unite and to pass it on. And you know, I couldn't think of a better way to pay my respects than to do it on the radio show.
I'm glad you did. Thank you.
And thank you, Colette, so much for calling in. It really means a lot, and I hope that we'll all keep in touch a little bit better now.
Is there some way I can leave you my email address?
Yeah, actually, what we'll do is I'll put you on hold, and Veronica will write your email address on the piece of paper here, and then if you want to leave a phone number too. So we'll do it off the air so nobody else hears it.
Thank you.
All right, Colette, thank you so much. I love you, and you take care.
Thank you. And did you know, excuse me, one thing. Did you know that your father had his first heart attack when he was 18?
Oh, my gosh, no, I didn't know that.
Yes. He nearly died from it. He was out doing sports and collapsed on the field, and that's when they found out he had a very bad heart.
Oh, my gosh. I never knew that at all.
And he spent about a year out of school having tutors and whatnot because his heart was that bad that he could not go back to school.
Unreal. And Joanne, I know if Joanne's listening right now, Joanne, that's just another thing that stacks up our case. Anyway, that's something else that we're dealing with. But thank you, Colette, for telling me that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
All right, take care.
Okay, honey, bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we're going to put her on hold. We're going to go to line 3, Jerry. Jerry, good morning.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Well, as good as could be expected, Jerry.
Yeah, I just, first of all, I want to just give you my condolences because your dad was the livest wire that I knew. I mean, I'm looking at his picture. I scanned it in the 65 yearbook, and I can send it to you so you can post it. But
I love it.
My God, your dad, Billy, and Jimmy were just like live firecrackers, and I just remember just having so much fun and enjoying their presence. And in those days, I got dressed up as Batman. I was riding around town in a little Batmobile, and your uncle, I guess, Uncle Jimmy, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
He was dressed up as Riddler one time. We went around Atlantic City, and we had an absolutely wonderful time. But Tom was a classy guy and always had a great sense of humor, and I really gravitated to him because of his humor and he had a jovial spirit. And Uncle Bill, I have very many fond memories of him. And Craig and Colette Platania are my natural cousins, but I sort of felt a little grafted into the Platania family. But I just remember Tom as a light bulb and always cracking jokes and having a good time. And I just want everybody to know what a bright, happy soul he was, and I'm sorry to see his passing.
That's awesome, Jerry. And you know, it's funny that as I was spending time with a lot of the neighbors, they kept just constantly saying, "You got your father's sense of humor. You got your father's sense of humor." You know, your father would say that exact same thing. Your dad, and that makes me feel. It makes me feel good to know that I have so much of a part of him in me, even though we had such a long time away from each other.
Well, I think you really can thank God for having reconciled the two of you. I met my dad after 28 years never knowing him, and before he died, I never had a chance to make amends and ask him for forgiveness and things like that because he was so mentally out of it. But I think it's a blessing that you had a chance to be with your dad, talk with your dad, and that's a gift from God. You just can't ever price because it's so valuable to have that loving relationship and get things healed. And I'm really glad for you, Tom, that you had that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now, and I don't know where I would be if I hadn't taken that opportunity to pick up the phone and call him and say to myself that, you know what, I don't care if he asks me for the $43.64. I'm going to write the stubborn old man a check, and I'm going to get on with my relationship with him because I'm not going to let that stand in the way. And the thing that just grabbed my heart that much more is that, and it shows to me that it was just meant to happen when it happened, is that he never asked me for the money that time.
Yeah.
And that showed me that he was a changed man, and I wish there was other people in his life that would have given him the new chance, the same chance again.
Mm-hmm.
That would have meant the world. But I guess I'm glad. And Jerry, I really appreciate you calling. How did you find out about the show?
One of the people online from my class of '66, Chris, told me about it, so I immediately turned in. And
Excellent.
I got to tell you, the graphics on your website are fantastic. Being a graphic designer, I just want to commend you for the beautiful work. I
appreciate that. That's actually I got to give some kudos to Intuit Web Design. I just kind of I actually just recently recreated that website because it was very blah, and I just kind of redid that whole thing myself. And but thank you very much. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah, and I pray the Lord really comforts you. And also, if you have a chance to speak at the memorial service, that the Lord will give you really beautiful words and really frame your dad's life in a very beautiful way.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. I appreciate it. And God bless, and take care of yourself.
God bless you, too.
Thank you.
And if I could get your email, I'll send you the photos of your dad and uncle.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I got a bunch of people asking me, so what I'll do is I'm just going to go ahead and say it out to everybody. All right?
Thank you very much.
All right, take care, Jerry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we only got a few more seconds left in the show. So my email address is the letter T, P as in Paul, L-A-T-A, N as in Nancy, I-A, the number 69 at gmail.com. Again, that's TPLATANIA 69 at gmail.com. Send all your requests if you'd like me to send photos, or if you'd like to send photos, please do that. Again, I want to thank everyone that listened and everyone that called in. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to my father. It means a lot to Joanne. I love all of you for participating. And if you ever want to tune into the show again, don't miss it. It's ComfortTimeLive.com. Thank you very much. And Dad, I love you. I hope you're in a better place. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.